No, it's not fun. Makes you not be able to be your as a excited self, maybe.
Yes. I'm trying.
I know. That's why I'm getting things in chat right now, even private chat, that's saying I'm sick. I'm sick.
I know.
Oh, well.
Oh, no power, Grace? That's weird. We didn't have any rain or anything.
I know. I'm not having that problem. Where are you at, Gracie? Or Grace, sorry. Huh.
The wind will do it.
Oh, goodness gracious. Well, you know what? We will just all be a mess together today. All right. We will just all be a mess together. I'm all right with that. It's no fun being a mess, but when you're a mess together, then it's just like the norm.
Yes, that's what I feel like my family's like. Yep.
We'll just do it. We'll just do it. Don't even worry. Whether it's just a bad day, a weird day, or you're feeling crappy, it's better when you can, grovel in it together almost. So here we are. Wednesdays are for whining.
Yes, there we go.
And we're going to do it together. You know what? Awesome. Well, today we're going to look at something called allele frequency. All right. And I have I keep calling them slides and it makes me feel so old. I don't feel like that's even, I have a picture. I don't know. I have something I want to go over, but instead of doing it that way, I think what we might do is recap redfish, greenfish on the board together and have you guys draw the picture and retell it. But Gracie, do you want to start by reading these goals for the day?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Go for it.
What is an allele frequency within a population? In the equation P plus Q equals 1, what do the letters P and Q represent? Thank you.
Sweet.
Mrs. Rivenhouse,
What's up?
That your quiz did not open on my end yesterday?
Sure, we can talk about it, Jonathan. Or send a private message to us, okay?
The quiz didn't open because due to the fact that I don't know what happened, but it was not showing.
Some of us didn't have to take yesterday's quiz. It was depending on your learning pathway.
Okay.
Some of us are taking it and some of us aren't. So you probably are exempt from that, okay, bud?
All right.
And that works perfect because you were out at the dentist yesterday. So that gives you time.
I'm very sorry about that.
Don't be sorry. It's totally fine. Life happens. All right. So thank you for reading. That was wonderful. All right. If you'll see today, what does this tell us we're going to do with these different colors? What does this tell us that we get to do today? Somebody want to explain, pop on mic or write in chat. What are we going to do today since we've got a couple different colors of level of understanding?
Get some knowledge and start understanding some things. If I'm mistaken.
Yes, no, you're not mistaken at all. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some of the information we've been learning, and just like we did yesterday with the phylogenetic tree, we're going to start taking that information and putting pieces together and start understanding and even, I would say, applying it today. If I could have kind of made this one a rainbow color, I would, because it's going to take us up into this region, the middle part of the triangle. All right. So instead of doing this, right, the crests of our birds with purple crests and green crests, okay, we'll come back to that. Let's review redfish, greenfish. And this is what we did yesterday, Mrs. Schaefer. It was so fun. They were awesome. We made a phylogenetic tree of our class.
Oh, looks fun.
And like these are all things that, that we have in common. And then we started separating it out to like some more specifics. And
That's a
I
great idea.
was so impressed. We had so many volunteers yesterday, people writing their name on the board and in chat. Like, I think it might have been like a lifetime record of volunteers.
Oh, and I missed it.
It was so fun. But maybe they'll do that with redfish, greenfish
Yeah.
today.
Let's see.
So if isn't there a Dr. Seuss book that's like the colors and the fish?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So here is our redfish. Oh, I should put redfish. I can't type and talk apparently. Redfish, greenfish, novel, right? This is, I guess it's not really a novel. It would definitely be a Dr. Seuss book. And I have no doubt our class could make this rhyme if we wanted to. So what I want us to do is collectively do this. Yes, Gabriella, I would love that. So I would love somebody to help narrate this on their microphone. I would like multiple people to help as we talk through it. So I would like somebody to kind of narrate the story. And then I would like everybody else to like start adding things to the pages of the story, or to their storyboard rather. Okay. Will somebody hop on the microphone and like narrate the story? We don't have tools. We need to fix that. Gabriella, did you want to get on your mic? Because I know you first jumped into that. I want to give you that opportunity first. Would you like to? And then if not, that's okay. You can help color and stuff.
The tools are showing up for me. I don't know why they're not working.
Okay. Luna, would you like to navigate redfish, greenfish? Your brain won't work. That's okay. Gracie, you want to narrate redfish, greenfish? Or you want to do it together, you and Luna, like co-lead this? Then you guys can help each other. Yes, let's do it. One of you just pop on the mic and get it started. You've got this. All right, it starts in the land. Let's set up the where it happens. We start off in a land far away, and Gabriella can help. In a pond far away, 2 fish got dropped into this pond, right? Go ahead. It was the sea. It wasn't a sea. There we go. Let's maybe make our sea even bigger up here so we have room. Right? Yes.
Okay, so it was a long time ago. There was a green fish and a red fish in the sea, and the red fish. Oh God!
You got it. The red fish said to the green fish
that, haha! I'm strong.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay, haha! I bet I could live longer than you. Then the green fish was like, okay, let's bet on that. The red fish gets eaten by a bird, a giant eagle. I just said a store name.
Yes. So let's get our drawing caught up. We've got the red fish. There's the green fish. Does somebody want to like draw the bird swooping in to get the red fish?
I'm on it. Hold on.
Oh God!
Hold on.
Now what happens? What happens next?
Then the redfish's cousin comes over and says, "Hey, where's my cousin? We had a race later to see who can be the best."
And then what happens to the cousin?
The cousin also gets eaten by the bird. Like,
Yeah.
see ya. The green fish is very happy. He's like, ha ha ha, revenge. So he has won the bet of he can live the longest until another bird comes in and will soon eat him as well. But it won't
Good.
be today. It will be another day.
Perfect. And what happens to the greenfish? Not only does he survive and his cousin survives, but then what happens to this population of fish in the pond?
Repopulates.
Yes. So
The
let's
red.
Population.
Sorry.
yeah, they're like, we're awesome. Green is better. And so all of a sudden now what happens is let's make that whole pond explode with green fish.
Until it gets overfilled with green fish and just
Yes. Oh my
explodes.
word. Luna, that's so good because that leads into our next unit. Believe it or not, but we won't get there. We'll bring redfish, greenfish back again. The story will lead longer when we go into population dynamics. But for now, nature chooses the greenfish. The greenfish takes over. The redfish and their cousins die out. And nature chooses the greenfish. Ooh, Gabriella's bringing in a bluefish. I love it. So we use this because we talked about how that the greenfish was favored by the environment because guess what? There were lily pads, there was moss, and the greenfish, it was a little more camouflaged in the pond versus that redfish. And why was the redfish less camouflaged? It's obvious, you can say it.
Because it is because that red is the most seen color and it's also the most popular color.
Yes.
Because red is always seen because there's so much red everywhere.
Good. And it's
Red is
yeah.
like, popular.
Another thing I would think is probably because sometimes the water itself can look green, and if the fish are green and if the ocean is green, you have problems seeing the green fish. But if you see the red fish, you're going to want to go after it because it sticks out like a sore thumb. Ooh, dinner.
Yes. Good job. So this is the way that nature kind of chooses things, right? They don't like eat an Oreo and eat a Chip Ahoy and be like, this one tastes better, right? In this case, it's like I can spot that redfish. I can eat that redfish faster. I would rather not spend all day hunting down a green fish because that redfish is easier to eat. All right. So what happens to the allele for the color red in the population? Does it go up? Does the red allele go up in the population, or do we see that allele go down?
It goes down, but
Yeah.
it'll depend on like how many there are basically.
You're right.
It just depends.
The rate in which it would decrease, you're absolutely right, Luna, would be on how many are in that environment, right? Perfect. You guys, these are all really good points. You guys perfectly narrated it. You did a great drawing. And I don't know who drew that bird, but I could never draw a bird like that. The evil bird. I love it. Good job. Tell your classmates how awesome they are because that was fun. You guys recapped that well, and that leads perfectly into where we're going today with alleles, right? So the alleles are just the part in the DNA, right? We get two alleles for our characteristics. So there's a gene. That's a spot in the DNA that codes for a specific trait. So there are tons of genes in your DNA, and it gives the code for who you are, right? Eye color, hair color, skin color, height, weight, all of those things are coded in there, and each one of those is at a gene. For each gene, we have two alleles, one from mom, one from dad. And those together code to what our phenotype is. In this case, the phenotype is the redfish and the greenfish. But as we go through this population and nature chooses the greenfish, the allele frequency in this population goes down, which is how nature favors genetics and how it kind of can weed out. See how we're not necessarily changing the red fish isn't necessarily morphing into the green color. Does that make sense? But the fish color is evolving because nature chooses it, and it dies out because it doesn't survive as well. The survivability of this allele, of this genetic combination, is not as strong as this one is. And so it slowly gets weeded out of an ecosystem because, yes, survival of the fittest. All right, so that is where we're going to take it today as we go into a weird equation called the Hardy-Weinberg. All right, the Hardy-Weinberg principle. That's what we're going to look at. Just like we say Newton's things like every action has an equal and opposite reaction. All right, there is a principle for our allele frequencies. All right. So what it's saying is this is how alleles will act in a normal, stable situation. All right. So it says allele frequency is constant. All right. It remains the same in a population. Okay. Remember, a population is one species of an animal in a certain area. All right. So we have the redfish, greenfish. That's one species. They're different colors, but they're the same species in one pond. We aren't looking at redfish and greenfish all over the world. We're not looking at redfish and greenfish in North America. We're looking at not even in just Ohio. We're looking at redfish and greenfish in one pond. So one species in one area. All right. And only under these conditions, these things have to be happening. All right. There is no migration. All right. So fish aren't moving in and out of the pond. Hardy-Weinberg works if it's just one pond. Nobody's coming in or out. Hardy-Weinberg is true if there are no mutations. Let's pause for a minute. How frequent are mutations? Do they happen a lot or not so much? Yeah, they do happen a lot, right? They do. So the fact that we're saying this is in no mutations, I want you to realize that this means it's only true in very rare situations. Okay? There's that many stipulations. There's no natural selection, which means there would be no bird choosing redfish or greenfish. Nature wouldn't choose. That's strange. There has to be random mating, which means that people don't say, ooh, the greenfish looks stronger. I choose him. It has to be completely random. And it has to be a very large population. So it means like it couldn't just be 5 fish or 6 fish where 3 are green and 3 are red. Like that's not a lot. That's a limited number. All right, so basically what I'm wanting you to see is that the Hardy-Weinberg principle, I want to say it usually happens in very controlled environments, and it usually is true most of the time in a laboratory setting where we can control things and make sure that there aren't external factors affecting it. Does that make sense? So we're looking at a principle today that is only true in a very controlled setting. So it's going to say this is how things behave in a very controlled setting. It's not necessarily like redfish, greenfish pond, okay? It is looking at the allele frequency like redfish, greenfish, but it's saying let's pretend redfish and greenfish were in our own, we have our own, Mrs. Rittenhouse class has their own biology lab, all right? And there were 200 greenfish and 200 redfish in our little science pond, all right? And there were no birds and there was no fishing, right? Then we would have closer to a Hardy-Weinberg situation. All right, so this is the assumptions that we just talked about. Random mating How much do you love this guy right here? Can we just laugh about that? A blind Cupid. He's not choosing him because the spouse is strong or good looking. Whoever this little arrow lands on. All right. Large population. No natural selection. All right. No fish. No camouflage. No whatever. No mutations. No migrations. Right? Those are the stipulations. Under those stipulations, we have an equation for how often an allele will show up in a population. Does that make sense? So if we had our own biology class pond with 200 redfish, 200 greenfish, no predators, and we just said, okay, what's going to happen? What will the allele frequency of how many redfish and how many greenfish will go? We would use this equation. And this equation would show us how it's going to play out. It's like a predictor. Does that make sense? It's a predictor. All right. Hardy-Weinberg is a predictor. So sometimes like we have the big Super Bowl coming up, right? There are people that bet money and predict the outcome of this game, right? And so lots of people would have like equations like this to help them predict who will be the winner of the game. This is kind of like that, the prediction kit. All right? And I don't even really want you to memorize this. I don't need you to memorize it. All right? I'm not going to be that teacher. What I want you to know, are you ready? Is that if you see this on a test, that you can say, I think that's the Hardy-Weinberg that's going to help me predict the fish color in our controlled setting of our biology class pond. All right, actually, I don't want you to write that out on the state test, but they won't use that. I would be shocked if they had this as a like written example. I just want you to be able to say Hardy-Weinberg, controlled environment, allele prediction. All right, let's write this down. Okay, I'm going to write this down. This is what I want you to know. And I want you to type this in chat. All right, Hardy. Even if you just remember the word Hardy, because like even Weinberg is such a weird word. It's like, Mrs. Rittenhouse, how am I going to ever remember that? Hardy equals. Ready? Allele prediction or gene prediction. All right, whatever you want. Allele prediction in a controlled environment. Or you could even put a controlled place because it could be a lab. And like I said, there's going to be very few places or places in the environment that you'll be able to apply this. Okay. Hardy equals allele prediction in a controlled place. Hardy equals allele prediction. Sounds good, Gabriella. I'm sorry. All right, Hardy, everybody do it. Because what happens when you type is it's a way of putting things in your brain a second time. Okay. Hardy is allele prediction in a controlled place. That's what I want you to know about this. I don't want you to see this equation and start freaking out. And I'm telling you that because when I see equations like that, sometimes that is my brain's first reaction. It's like, oh no. Okay? We don't need that. We don't need to freak out. Yeah, oh no, you don't need to like they probably won't even give you numerical values to plug in for this. They're just going to be asking you like maybe what is this? Why do we use this? Hardy, why do we have it? Is for allele predictions in what? Controlled environment, right? Even if you want to write this And then even write the equation just so your eyes don't freak out when you see it. And then even maybe go back today and draw these. I like these pictures because they stick with me more than words. Pictures stick in my brain more than words do. Okay, no migration, no mutation, no natural selection. I want to be like, where does this happen? Large population and random mating. Okay. If you want to see this in action, this is kind of what it looks like. Okay. If they would give you values or numbers for those, you would just plug them into the equation. Okay. Like 0.2 is P. 0.2 is P. We see it back in there. 0.08 is Q. And then we solve. All right. See how it says Hardy-Weinberg is never achieved in nature. Because in nature, all of those things happen. But it is useful in studying populations. Okay. And just predicting growth. So, does somebody want to read this for me? Gracie, do you want to read?
Yes, sorry, I forgot to put my hand down, but I think Luna's before me or Nick, whoever wants to, since I
Sure.
already have it.
So, yeah, so somebody can read this first half. You want to do that first half, Luna, and then Nick do the second?
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. All right. In this large population of wildebeests, the following conditions will have to be met for, there we go, for the allele.
Allele, you're right.
Allele. Allele. Okay. Frequencies of a trait that to remain stable. Large population size. Random mating. Random mating. Jeez. No natural selection. No migration. No mutation.
Perfect.
Let's go. All right. How likely is it that all of these conditions can be met at one time? The Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium states that as soon as one of these conditions is not, but I'm sorry, but whatever. Is not any it's everything up. Nice, whatever. Is not being met. Evolution will be occurring in the population. Evolution can be defined by a change in the alleles of frequency.
Good. Good writing. I know. I love it. So, how likely is it that all of those conditions can be met in this place at this time? Would you say yes, that all of these things are happening in this population, in this ecosystem? What do you think? Yes or no? Let me give you chat or poll. Do you think that in this population, all of those things would be true? That they would, it does look large. I don't know how we can decide if it's random mating. Usually in nature, the male or female have a behavior or a look or something to attract their mate, right? And that is how usually mates are chosen. So I don't know that random mating could be true. No natural selection. So we're saying that nature isn't favoring any of these guys. I would actually say no. Yes, love at first sight. I would actually say no. That the chance that all of these characteristics would be true in a environment in this little, I don't even know what I want to call them, a tribe, but I don't know what they're finding. Yeah, nobody worry, because this is all learning. My daughter misclicks all the time. Heard, thank you, Darian. Right, and this heard that all of those would be true. I would say not likely, because that is the way of nature, really, is that we do naturally select, that there is random mutation. Miley, you need my charger? Okay, take it. Sorry, we're switching that up. Awesome. So that is what I would say. If this is a question on the state test and they ask you, here's a wildebeest. The following conditions have to be met. And then they ask you, how likely is it that all of those conditions would be met? I'd want you to say maybe no. It's not likely that all of those, every single one of those, that's saying that there's no mutation in any of those wildebeest. Okay, it says all. And we know that mutations are highly frequent. I want you to be like, whoa, stop, wait a minute. Okay. Say, I know that there are often mutations. So even if the rest of those are true, I cannot imagine how that in this entire herd of wildebeest, there would be 0 mutations. All right. And then you can just kind of stop this right there. All right. Yes. That's how I want you to feel about this situation. So let's look at our goals, guys. What is an allele frequency within a population? Who can tell me on mic what an allele frequency is? You can do it. Be brave.
Can I try?
Yeah.
Now I may word this bad. However, if I am mistaken, it is supposed to be how many of, I guess maybe of a population, maybe like the alleles of the green fish versus the red fish,
Yes.
and they, if I am mistaken.
No, you're perfect, Gracie. That's perfect, right? The allele frequency is going to be the phenotype, or how often a trait shows up in a population, right? So an allele frequency is just what Gracie said, how many redfish and how many green fish are in a population, right? That is it. How many, like if we say out of 10, how many are red? We would say like the red fish frequency would be, let's say 2 out of 10, right? Versus the green fish at the end, maybe we would say 8 out of 10 or 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10. Allele frequency is how often that code shows up in the population. You're perfect. You're right on it. So in the equation, P plus Q equals 1. What do the letters P and Q mean? Well, I guess we didn't necessarily talk about that, but we did. So the P is the dominant genotype. It's going to tell us how often the dominant genotype shows up. The Q, the letter Q, is going to tell us how often the recessive genotype shows up in a perfectly controlled situation. Okay, so P and Q are the allele types. So let's pop down here and let's write it in. Somebody write P equals which one? Dominant or recessive? Somebody write it in there. Q equals, good. Somebody write dominant up there. You can write it with a pen or you can use the, yeah, thank you. Perfect. Recessive and dominant. You guys are awesome. Use your pointers. How do you feel? Do you feel like we accomplished this today? We got this down. I'm so proud of you because what we did today was go up that triangle. All right. What we did is try to take the pieces and put them together. And just like when you do a puzzle, you know the pieces well but it takes a minute to find how they put together. And I feel like that's exactly what we did today, guys, is we took those pieces of what we know about alleles, what we know about all of those words. Do you realize like how much you know? You guys knew what all these things were. You understand this. You understood what natural selection was by redfish, greenfish. You understood what the word mutation was and what that means. You understand how migration and random mating play into the ecosystem. You guys are so smart. And you use all of those things in our redfish, greenfish story to help us understand that how under the most perfect conditions in a very controlled setting that we can predict how many dominant and recessive alleles show up in our pond, in our very controlled biology pond. If they are controlled, we can figure out how many of each we will have. But that in nature, like the wildebeest, we can't control those things, or we don't know those things, or it's rare, or no way it's happening. And so you guys were able to piece that all together. I'm super proud of you. Okay. Super duper proud of you. What I want you to do, I mean this sincerely with my whole heart. Don't leave me yet. I'll let you go even minutes early. I need you to do something with this information today. I need you to go get your markers out. I need you to get a piece of paper out. I need you to write the Hardy Weinberg equals all of this before it disappears from your brain. This slide alone would help you. Okay? Hardy, allele prediction, controlled place. P is dominant, Q is recessive. That's all you need to know. But I want you to do that. I want you to draw that today. I don't want you to take a quiz today. I don't want you to do anything else with this today. I just want you to write this down. Spend time coloring it out, drawing it out. I promise you it's going to help put it in your brain another way. And then you can keep that in a folder, keep it in a place so that when you get ready to take that state test here in another month or two, that you guys are like, bam, I'm going to review this, and that's going to help you. And you're going to walk into that test room flexing because you have these concepts down in your brain. All right, I'm done. I'm not going to talk your ear off. I'm going to respect your time and let you go a couple minutes early because you've done it today. You've done it this week. We are so proud of you. There are help sessions if you need it, want it. Otherwise, we will see you Monday for our next lesson together, okay? I'm here. You can leave. Drop your questions that you have in chat, and I'll see you soon. Thanks for participating today, guys. Of course. It's my